Welcome to From the Ashes, the Dungeon Crawler Network podcast all about Ashes of Creation by Intrepid Studios. Bear witness to the rebirth of the MMORPG genre from the ashes of an industry that has left the gamers behind. I'm Aggelos, founder of the Dungeon Crawler Network. We're coming to you live from the Mighty Beard. I wish we had something to report, but we don't. Dear heaven above, what was that?
Are you not going to introduce us? Fine. We'll just
I mean, no
one knows who we are.
He's lost.
I'm joined, and I honestly have no idea why they even bothered showing up this week because, I mean, it's definitely not for the beer because we don't get any. And it really wouldn't have been for this letter because, dear heaven above.
We didn't get any.
Yeah, much what we're going to be talking about. But being the trooper that he is, we got Alpha Soul. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good.
We also have the one and only Storms Lord.
I'm here.
It's more to say than the letter was. And trying not to steam from his ears, Crowjack.
Is everyone ready to discuss today's topic of item level progression for legendary items? I'm very excited to talk about legendary items in Ashes of Creation. I hope you are
I
too.
thought it was naval progression.
Oh, it's naval progression.
Yeah,
We're on
naval
progression this
progression.
week. That's
That's,
right.
you know.
That's our topic of the day. It's good.
No, not really.
No. And I see my favorite comment so far I've seen in chat room is developer's letter equals smoke and mirrors. Steven pulled a Houdini on us at this point. Like, the amount of magic that happened in this letter, but nothing really happened was...
I would say there's smoke, but there's no mirrors. There was nothing. There's nothing there.
There's nothing of substance. It is going to be a crazy show, and that is what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be going through the state. Hold on. Got to roll that back again. For podcast listeners, I'm going to do what I did last week. And we're going to throw a lot of air quotes. The state of the game address.
What game?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what we're going to be going over this very evening. But before we do, got to give an amazing shout out to all of our Patreon and Twitch subscribers. You guys are amazing. You help keep these torches lit. And keeping these shows coming to you each and every week, which is becoming harder and harder and harder if this is the type of letter that we're going to get. Just had to say it. Anyway. Of course, if you want to help support the show in other ways, you can leave us a 5-star review on iTunes so people know that we are a real podcast, that we say real words. Sometimes they matter. We haven't gotten one in quite a while, so... guess everyone who listens to the show left us one? I don't know. It's kind of sad. I'm really sad about that. Seriously, iTunes reviews, they're helpful. Anyway, didn't we already say this is where we're going to end the show and put the state of the game behind a paywall?
Yeah, we're gonna move this
All right,
topic.
let's go. Next one.
After party.
Now we're going to talk about the state of the game in the after show where we're allowed just to go nut. No, I'm just kidding. We're probably going to talk about the state of the game in the after show as well. But probably in a little bit more adult fashion. Yeah.
There you go. Good way to word it.
Sure. Let's go ahead and jump in to this creative director's letter. First and foremost, let's talk about the first thing. They really wanted to highlight the fact that Intrepid Studios is growing. We've seen a lot of studio closures, mass layoffs, looking at you, Blizzard and ArenaNet, which we talked about briefly last week, and I know they highlighted it. One thing that was of interest was the fact that they did bring, they updated their Intrepid Studio site with a few of the new hires.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking over a couple of them, and actually at first, one of the new hires is using just the dwarf artwork for their picture, which doesn't say a whole lot right off the bat, but at first I thought they picked up, what's her name? Belissa or whatever her name is. She was a really big CM, I think, at Trion Worlds. She always ran around with a dwarf a dwarf icon. I don't really know why, but yeah, they did highlight all that, so it's kind of neat. We've seen a couple people. Honestly, a few of the names that stuck out to me, Chris Atkins, he stuck out to me for some odd reason as a senior character artist, but I'm not really sure where I've heard that name before. But otherwise, I didn't really notice a whole bunch that weren't already there in the past. We already talked about Jonathan Lean, who's the new senior producer. So that's actually pretty cool. Here's the one thing that I have an issue with. They talked about this, and I kind of want to get everyone's thought on this. And I'm going to quote this just from a paragraph that they put here. As you may know, our goal was to reach 80 to 100 developers at San Diego studio by the end of 2018. We missed this hiring goal and are doubling our efforts to recruit the best talent available during the next few months. I noticed they said the San Diego studio, but how many people are up to? They've been toting that they've had hundreds of employees. But their official Intrepid Studios site shows how many? Let's see. Hold on. I'm going to count this real quick. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I think they're
not.
go ahead.
Oh no, there's more. There's a show more button, but still, it's not that many people at the Intrepid Studios. And I see. I was wrong. Chris Atkins has been there since the beginning. I just missed it. So they have to be doing a lot of contract work.
Yeah, contract and outsourcing to different parts of the world. But for what purpose? Art? Modeling?
Well, I know they have that studio in
All of the above.
All of the above in France, and also one in somewhere in Malaysia, right?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. But yeah, no, their studio is not overly large, at least the people who are sitting at the Intrepid Studios in San Diego. Any other thoughts on this, guys?
Nope.
New studios under construction with over 21,000 square feet. I'm curious when that'll be done, because they did say they were working on that for quite a while, but, I mean, eventually their studio is going to get, I guess, small? Too small?
It has to. Yeah. It's going to go through, the problem with spaces like this is it's going to go through increases and decreases throughout time, right? So we'll see.
Right.
Yeah.
Indeed. All right. Enough of the fluff. Let's move into the more fluff. All right.
Well, then we're doing the letter.
We did our fluff. Now it's time for everyone else's for some more fluff. State of the game, which we will be talking about. They've been harping on the Ashes of Creation MMORPG, and of course they have a section here dedicated to that, as well as Apocalypse Testing Ground. And one of the things they said is the core principle with development of Ashes of Creation is getting it right. And our measurement of success is delivering the vision that you signed up for. We're here to release the game that that will make us all proud. There's no hard dates. Let's just be frank.
Yeah.
Let's just dive right into that. I want to hear everyone's first thoughts on this. I know we're going to dive into this, but this was insanely disappointing to me. Insanely disappointing of a letter. There's nothing of substance in this entire letter. Majority of this letter, which we're going to go through, is a recap of the past, 3 to 6 months. Oh, I should take that back. Let's roll this back a little bit. They did add some concept art from houses.
They did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that dead silence there is literally to tell you that's pretty much the only thing that was new in this letter. They let 3 months, 6 months, 8 months of development, things we've already known, was put in this letter. The handful of quote-unquote new stuff has already been guessed by the majority of the community following the game. What? Okay. I know. I'm at a loss for words of how I want to even say this, because I'm pretty sure I even said this was my worst case scenario letter.
You did.
Yeah.
That it was going to be vague, have zero substance, and be full of PR speak. Judges, what do we say here?
I don't
you
want to go
win.
first.
You win. That's what it is. It's all PR speak. It's all fluff. There's no hard dates whatsoever.
Yeah, pretty much spot on.
Awesome.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's. I said it before, but they would have been far better if they had just simply said, "Hey, look, we're delayed," given us a an estimate, and said, "Hey, we might not hit this date,"
Right.
but it is what it is. Instead, it's PR speak. Instead, I mean, again, like Aggelos said, there is not a single thing in that letter that we have not already talked about or theorized within the past, 2-3 months or 3 months, 2-3 months, right? So,
And I'm seeing chat bring this up, and I brought this up pre-show. The idea that I know some people have brought this letter up, and they made sense on it, that this was a letter that was written for the greater community, people who are following the game just partially. People who are following the game, who are really following the game, Intrepid Studios, I'm looking at you. I'm staring right at you right now. Look deep into my eyes. You have failed these people. And I'll tell you why. We'll get to that. But the fact that you are aiming this at people who are just tangentially following the game is a misstep. Because the people who are only following it a little bit don't care. They already don't care. You know where they get their information on this game? MMORPG.com, massively OP. Polygon, if it ever gets out there, which, why would Polygon write about nothing? I mean, well, they do that every day anyway. But let's go back. They're going to see this, and I will put money on this. I've said it in chat. The title you're going to see this when it hits the mainstream news sites is going to be Ashes of Creation delayed, no ETA. That is going to be your title, and that is what is going to drive the narrative of this entire letter. You're trying to get ahead of the negative press, and yet you threw gasoline on the fire with this. I know dates are bad. We've talked about that. But you've opened Pandora's box by giving dates in the past. Storms, you made this comment, and I really don't want to jump in this one, or even Alpha, so I can't remember at the first one. You talked about dates and how at this point you need to continue with dates, even if it's just a matter of this is where we're going to look at.
Even if it's again, like you had said earlier, if I walked into my steering committee with this, they would have said turn around, come back in 5 days with a date of when you'll give us a date or you get a new job. I mean, there's nothing, you can't say that. You can't say no date now that you're where you are. They should have come in my opinion, they should have come in, they should have said, you know what? We don't know enough. We don't, but we need 2 months. We need to April 15th or May 15th. Then we'll come back with a realistic date. But they didn't. They just said in months instead of years. Well, you know what? It could be 52 months, which is still months, but not years. It's ridiculous.
Right. And
I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, but this is the worst way they could have gone about it.
Right. And I see chat said, and a few months was the only time frame given. But let's take this back a little bit. All right. And everyone knows we've been very positive on this show before. Almost all of us work in IT, some sort of management. I mean, even Crojack, who does this for a living, manages his release of videos knowing this is what he has to do in order to make, his daily bread, if you will. There's a level of project management that goes into everything that we do, and I don't see any of that here. Nothing.
Exactly. The very same thing my wife said is, where's their project manager? I don't know if they have one at this point.
If I were to go off this letter, I would say the same thing. Yeah. And we're not, and let's take this back. I mean, we still do a show on this. We're not going, hey, this is awful, but we're still supporting the game. We'll still do a show. We're just expressing the insane disappointment for a letter that has been hyped for weeks, mind you. How many times has the Discord, chat, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, any of those channels asked for an update, and the issue we got was, don't worry, a director's letter's coming that will clear all this up.
Yep.
It's not here yet.
So, yeah.
It is
pretty much it.
This letter did not clear it up.
Yeah, and again, it's not strange that the game is delayed. That's not strange at all. Nobody's upset that. I mean, people are upset that the game's not coming out as fast, but they're not. That's not something that they would be this visceral over, right? It's 100% the communication and what's been given to us. There's nothing to hang our hat on. Basically, we're at the exact same state that we were before the creative letter, and that's with just more questions.
Right.
Yeah.
It's sort of like someone took my glasses that were smudgy, said, "Here, I'll clean them for you to make it clear," and did it with a wire brush and handed them back. Said, "Here, is that better?" No. It's bad, and that's Crojack. You've been quiet.
So
What's wrong?
I've been sitting here bouncing quietly, just holding in the rage because I want you guys to finish your conversation before I go off. And I want to bring this back to two groups of people that the rest of us in the podcast don't represent. You guys are people involved in this field. I want to talk about the casual gamer, the casual person interested in this MMO who is not a backer. And I want to talk about all the backers, the Kickstarter, the summer backers, people who have financially invested in this project. Let's go with the non-financially invested first. As Aggelos has said, those people care about two things: gameplay and release date. They don't care about hires. They don't care about office space. They don't care about any of that crap that's in this thing. All they care about is the release date and gameplay footage. That's all they want. Kickstarter backers backed an MMORPG. What we want to see is MMORPG footage, MMORPG concept art, MMORPG related assets and models and things that are in progression and things that are currently under development. That's what we're looking at. Instead, we're given empty promises, a battle royale no one asked for, a castle siege no one asked for, and the only reason people are interested in a castle siege is because it's at least kind of close to an MMO. And then this letter gave us no dates, no new information, pushed back to the alpha testing, and left us in a state of going, what? What was the point in this letter?
Mm-hmm.
It did not do two things. It did not do the first job of addressing the casual fan, because they don't care. And it did not do the second job of addressing us hardcore fans and Kickstarter backers, because it provided us with no answers. So I've been sitting here just bubbling, just trying not to explode right now.
And we've seen chat, and this is the funny part. How many times have we seen this letter going, it's being delayed because Steven was waiting on a few concrete answers to give us better
Oh, yeah.
But to what?
Well, yeah, that would be a great question. But to what? I will say at the very beginning of the letter, he did say when talking about the MMORPG that with addition to the new team, which they talked about, and we'll get into a little bit near the end, we'll begin to see new content and regular weekly updates on the progress of the MMORPG and our journey to Alpha 1. Because remember, Alpha 1 has been pushed back with an indefinite date. It has been pushed back indefinitely. And that's a proper word because no one seems to understand what the word indefinitely means, but go look it up. We do not know any ballpark information, which it's funny. They've got burnt in the past with dates. Okay? And we agree. Dates are problematic when not heavily pushed on saying this is subject to change. And giving updates. The big issue wasn't missing
Updates.
date.
Yeah.
Yes, big problem is not missing a date.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
waiting till the date gets here, goes by,
Oh, yeah.
and then goes, oops.
If you want to do open communication and open development, make it open.
Yeah.
Make it open.
Never mind communicate. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I think Aggelos hit the nail on the head. At work, this is a perfect scenario. If we say that we're going to deliver a product by, say, December, we don't say anything. December hits and we don't deliver. We're all in trouble. All right.
What creek are we in?
It's a completely it's a completely different story. On the other hand, if along the way you're updating and you're letting everyone know, and then it's not a surprise that for whatever reason the date slipped.
Absolutely.
Right? And I see the Ginja Ninja, he brought this up in chat, and I was going to get to this. This is cool. He says, when we feel ready, we will share a new Alpha 1 date. I know you all want a new date, and we'd love to be able to give you a new date, but we don't want to throw one out there and have to take it back. The problem is you've already done that. And it's not taking it back that's the problem. It's the silence until the date is passed and then you're delayed. There's no Camelot Unchained. I bring these guys up because they are the perfect example for a game that gets delayed fairly often because they keep running into issues, but they are on top of letting you know. They were prompting their open beta or closed beta, which was supposed to happen, like, I forget when the exact date was, but they gave us a date. They had a countdown timer. 2 weeks before the countdown timer went out, they said, guys, we ran into an issue. We got to push it back another month.
Fantastic.
Beautiful. I mean, I was a little disappointed because then I didn't get to play the alpha right away. But guess what? It wasn't as full of vitriol as this is because I went,
You're disappointed? You move on.
Okay. Well, that's a shame, but I guess I'll see you in a month. You know, that's what we need. We don't need the vagueness of no dates. We need you to set a date and give us updates of that date, saying this is what we're aiming for. We will let you know if something changes. And give us you're planning on these weekly updates. Why is it not a good time to go? So we're working on back-end infrastructure. Week 1, it's going good. We're still on track. Week 2, we ran into an issue. We're pushing the date back 2 weeks. Crowjack.
Now, this is my optimist coming out because I can't help it. No matter how mad I get, the optimist is always there lurking, ready to come out. Now that we have Margaret on staff and we have Lieutenant Thais on staff and we have these people in charge of the marketing and stuff, moving forward, are we going to see that, do you think? Sadly, what we've seen so far tells us no. But because of Margaret, because of Lieutenant Thais, are we going to see more transparency? Are we going to see better communication? Are we going to see more stuff moving forward from this point?
Well,
To correct everything that's gone wrong before.
I think we can have our answer to that in about basically by the end of this month. Yeah, 2 weeks, 3 weeks by the end of this month.
How this next little bit goes.
How the immediate future goes. And the reason I say that is because she's been on since December?
Yeah.
It was January. And it's now, April, right? And the updates have been few sparse, here or there. Yeah. Or March, sorry. March. Yeah. And it's all been waiting on the letter. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm hoping. She's
still a little new to it. Now she's worked in the past and whatnot, but we don't know what kind of for lack of better word, what sort of mess she was thrown into when she started there.
True.
I was thrown into quite a mess when I started my new job. Like, literally, when I started, they had no IT guy at my place for 6 to 8 months, and the person who was running it was like someone in their finance department. It needed help, and they threw me in, and it took me a couple months to dig out to where we're now ahead of schedule, but it took a lot. We don't know exactly where she's at. And I keep coming back to transparency. They keep talking about transparency, but this letter was not transparent by any stretch of the imagination. And I think that was the biggest issue. I see people complain about, like you said, the Castle Siege, which was supposed to be available to Alpha 1 testers in December. It is now it's a full quarter past that date. And all we've seen of Castle Siege so far is a flyover video with fixed assets, not even doing anything, and a few teaser pieces that we'll talk about in a little bit.
The forums.
Later. Well, yeah, forums are another issue, which we'll get to here in a bit. They talked about...
Which they also didn't answer anything about.
Yeah.
Are you starting to see a trend with this letter?
So here's what they could have done. If they don't want to say, you know what, we'll give you a date of when Alpha 1B, it'll give it to you in 2 months, right? They don't want to do that. Cut it down to smaller pieces. When will you give us this by this date? The smallest thing you could give us. What could it be? Because right now you've totally wiped all confidence I have in producing anything of any substance beyond the battle royale that we had, which I pretty much have done in a couple of weeks, but that's okay. You had better art, but do something. Put a stake in the ground for something. You've now. I'm done at this point until they give us something. And It's the point of, if my kids lie to me, which not often, but if they do, and they do it again and do it again and do it again, like eventually I'm not even going to trust anything you say.
Boy who
until
cried
you
wolf.
give me something. Yeah, I'm done waiting until I see something. I mean, and I
think
don't
many of
often
us-
get to that point, but I'm like, yeah.
How many of us are like that? And not even just the four of us on this podcast, not even the people in the chat or the audience, but people who have kickstarted or the people who are passively interested in the game from the outside. How many people are seeing the battle royale being made, the battle royale failing, and then this pushback of the testing for the MMO? How many people are like, you know what? I'm just gonna wait until this thing's released and then think about it. Then,
Yeah.
how many people are in a state of apathy, going, I really don't care right now. I got more important things to
There's the
do.
word.
I'll go play BDO. I'll go spend time with my family. I'll go do something else and then come back if this thing ever comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, apathy is a good word. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a perfect word. Perfect. I did like that they went into a little bit of detail talking about APOC again, but this is stuff that has been said a lot, and I do appreciate and I will give them credit if this is indeed aiming towards people who are not in the Discord, who have not been watching shows, have not been watching content that people have been putting out, which, I would say that's a little, how do I want to say it?
Go ahead.
I'm trying to think of the way I want to say it. Most people don't go to a game website to get news. I'm sorry. I don't go to the
No.
BDO website to get their news, even though their website's actually really
You go to
really
your
good.
favorite YouTuber, you go to your favorite
Uh-huh.
blog website, you go to third-party sources.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whatever one you like.
Right. Other than patch notes, I generally go to some YouTuber or whatever because they'll break it down in a way that's relevant to me playing the game.
And then add their opinion
Yeah.
on top, and it's just
Yeah.
more entertaining and such.
It is. It
Absolutely.
is. So
Yeah.
to say people, and I know this for a fact because I've got multiple messages from people who actually say they watched our show, and this is what that when they wanted to learn about Ashes, they started on our show and went all the way through it. But they were talking about the apocalypse in BR, and I know people are saying, "Oh, BR failed." It didn't. It actually accomplished exactly what it was meant to accomplish.
Yeah.
With props to them. This is the issue I have with the letter now. It's very telling. They go through everything they were trying to do with it, which was great. They are saying how it was a problem with Alpha 1 Phase 1, which is what Apocalypse was originally dubbed as, but it got confusing, which I'm pretty sure everyone said. Anyway. Going into testing of Apocalypse, this is what the final paragraph is what was most telling. Testing of Apocalypse successfully revealed the need for some architectural refactoring that we were glad we were able to spot early on. And while development is split into separate departments that continue forward despite the needed re-architecturing, engineering, design, art, etc., some of these issues needed rebuilding from the ground up. And they say, as you'll see outlined below, which we'll talk about, but it really didn't outline issues. They didn't tell us what they haven't already told us before.
Was not I didn't say it was a cut and paste, but I thought it was a copy and paste from another memo. That exact verbiage of
Copy and paste and reword.
yeah, that
It's
is
kinda like-
just it. I mean, they said the same thing.
Yeah, it is.
I'm sorry.
And I feel like we've seen this before, like not just on Discord, but everywhere. This was what most of us have been talking about since the beginning. And a lot of content creators, this is what we were harping on people saying, no, it's not a BR game. This is what testing is for. So it's not like they haven't heard it from us.
Right.
It's funny that they consistently have to keep reiterating the battle royale is a testing, blah 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 blah, over and over and over and over again. Why is that? You want to know why that is? Because we don't want a battle royale. MMO gamers don't want a battle royale, so they have to keep justifying the existence of their battle royale. If it was an arena mode, if it was anything to do with an MMORPG for purposes of testing servers and stuff, there wouldn't be this outcry. They wouldn't have to constantly explain this. They have to constantly explain this because it's a battle royale. And we don't want it.
Right.
And it sucks. It's frustrating. It's frustrating from the content creator's perspective, from the podcaster's perspective. I bet it's frustrating from their perspective. And they've gone down this road, and they've built this thing, this testing apparatus, that's what they call it. They've built this thing, and they want to monetize this thing, have this type of thing going on. And we talked about before, they can't just stop it. They can't just scrap it and say, you know what, this isn't working, because from the outside, they see this feature from Intrepid Studios that was built and then scrapped. And that looks terrible. That is absolutely terrible.
I know they even brought up the website and forums, customer service, and e-commerce. We'll say the one big thing that I guess got brought into this was the removal of Exola.
Zola? Yeah.
Yeah, what is that?
It's go ahead.
I was going to say, if they're the vendor that you purchase pretty much anything off of the store through.
Okay.
Well, they the vendor or they payment processor?
Payment processor.
Sorry.
Yeah, they're the
Yeah.
payment processor. It's
Yeah.
all right. So switching a payment processor is a big deal, but not that big of a deal. I've done it twice where I am now, and almost 3 times we're working on. It's not that big of a deal. It's integration. Sorry, they've moved me from everything they say I'm going to take straight to you got to show me that you can say something straight before I'm going to believe anything you say.
You have to show.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's where I am now. I feel bad because I don't like being that way.
Absolutely. No, it sucks.
But you've
being like this.
shifted
We don't want
that.
to be like this.
They've shifted that at this point. Up until today, I was giving him a benefit. This is what they're saying. This is what they mean. I don't know anymore.
This is a horrible place to be. This is a horrible place to be as a fan,
It
as
is.
someone who loves MMOs, as someone who wants this project to succeed. This
No,
is
absolutely.
a terrible place to be in. I'm in the complete. I agree with you absolutely. Until I see something of substance, I have no faith right this second. At this very moment of the filming of this podcast, I don't have much faith. Hopefully, tomorrow's live stream will give us something cool. Hopefully, next week, the week after, I don't think it will. I'm saying hopefully. Hopefully, the next month, 30 days, we'll see some pretty cool stuff. That will help me feel better about this project. Right this very second, I feel just uninterested. It's terrible.
I mean, that was the same line we used before. Hopefully, the director's
Absolutely.
letter will.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Sorry.
We would,
Yes.
yeah, so
Yep.
true.
You've crossed that line. So yeah, no.
Yeah. Anyway, website.
I'm still paying attention.
Oh well,
We
yeah.
all
I
still
mean,
think
we're still
also-
doing a weekly show on this.
We'll still read stuff, but you know.
In December 2018, during the rollout of our open beta testing for Apocalypse, we discovered several issues that affected our web, platform, and account services. With over 2 million visitors to our website in the last week of December, many of our scalable solutions that were designed to handle that type of traffic experienced some issues. On February 21st, 2019, we did an AWS, that's Amazon Web Services for those who don't know, migration that solves several of these issues, and we've had new deployments that will include our SSO, that's single sign-on solution, that is intended to utilize for multiple web portals, launcher, website, forums, and other services we have planned. We are also working on changing components of our e-commerce platform from the store, future shop components, and subscription features that will be utilized for the MMORPG. I've heard your feedback regarding the customer service and performance of the payment processor Exola and have decided we'll be moving away from it, but it'll take time to integrate Stripe and PayPal in its place. Let's talk about this a little bit. This could be a positive, especially when it comes to forums.
This
'cause
is a positive.
We've not heard anything when it comes to forums. But moving to AWS, I'm really interested to see. Again, this would be wonderful if they would even show us some metrics about why it was a good thing versus what we had before, because we don't have any of that.
Again, showing.
Yeah.
Showing.
I
Not
mean,
just telling, showing.
I get why the forums would still be down if they really want to have single sign-on, but why is that a necessity to bring the forums up first? Especially when they've been down for
It's not.
74 days, 75
It's
days.
not a necessity. It's a choice.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a choice. I've not had any issues with Exola, but I've heard other people complain. I don't really care about a payment processor. It's good if there's concerns. Great. I'm glad that was addressed.
It's
But
a
the
payment
MMO gamer doesn't
processor.
care.
No, they don't care. It's a payment processor. I mean, whether it's Stripe, whether it's PayPal, whether it's Zola, whether it's Western Union, it doesn't matter who the payment processor is. You're integrating with them with either APIs or batches. That's what you're doing. This is Okay,
Tons
who
of other
cares?
companies have done that. Tons of
I
other
have
companies have done
I
that.
have a leather wallet. Who cares, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's what I have a credit card. Who cares? I don't care who the payment processor is. Give me what I need.
And I am seeing chat saying moving from Exola was a requirement. Their conversion from different currency was messed up. Fair enough if dealing with that. I agree. I mean, if there was issues with Exola, it's a good to hammer it out now before it becomes another issue.
Absolutely.
But why did you need to put that in the letter, other than to give some positive news in this
They
negative letter?
needed something positive.
They're
Thing,
grabbing what they
massaging
can,
the
right?
government.
Quite honestly,
I
that's
mean-
the only thing of substance in this entire letter.
That announcing that there's a delay to the alpha testing, which we knew was coming, but they needed that could have been one sentence. Alpha testing delayed.
And I
Because
mean,
reasons.
essentially it was, if you boil down all the PR speak.
Mm-hmm.
A couple things that they do want to talk about when they said they were moving forward with this, and where this is going to be the last thing we're going to kind of talk about before we really kind of talk about where they could have done better with this letter.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
During the next few months, let's start with APOC first. They're going to be working to integrate new back-end infrastructure and netcode changes, integrate with the new launcher, continued implementation of Castle Siege and Horde mode, game mode, design, UI, animations, environment, QA testing, and bug fixing. Let's first start there before we jump into the MMO side of things. I do not like the fact, again, they say integrate with the new backend infrastructure and netcode changes. I know early up in the letter they said they tested a little bit of it. That's how they got 200 people on the server. Okay. Great. 200 people on the server. Again, 200 people is not an MMO make.
Not even close.
I logged into Calpheon on BDO the other day, and there were 200 people standing in front of the freaking bank. Or more standing in front of the bank. And and I was under the impression, and I see chat was that 200. They said they got the server running great, but
No. I saw that too. No.
I wouldn't agree with that assertion.
Server was running great at maybe 160, not 200. Or you know what? I can't. Let me take that. Let me roll that back a bit. I can't comment on the server. All I know, I can comment on what I felt. Playing and
Client
past
side, right? Our
160.
side.
Yeah, exactly. Client side. So maybe it was client. That didn't feel like client, but whatever.
I have my doubts anything client side, especially with half the rigs that we have. There's no way we should be experiencing that. And I'm even seeing
I'm running a 1080 Ti, right? Like this should not be an issue.
in any of our testing, 200 crashed immediately, chat says, and got kicked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I'm sorry, is ridiculously low. It really is. It's ridiculously low to have this problem at 200 users.
What are they fiddling with back there? I mean, shouldn't the default product that they're using be able to handle that and be designed for that at the very
They're not
least?
using it. They want.
I know they're not. So,
That's
like,
it, right? They
Ugh.
decided to write their own, which is what they've done. If they wanted to produce, they should have gone out and said, "We want to produce the best netcode possible for an MMO. This is what we're going to do. We're going to have this piece. We're going to focus on this. So we're not going to use what the experts have already put together. We're going to use something different because we know better." Great. Take it, patent it. That's fantastic.
Why are
But
they
it's
not
not working.
talking about that more?
But it's not working.
Well, that's
It's
what-
not
Yeah, so
working.
on this, they've not been able to do that. They've
They-
failed in doing
they
that
can't.
thing.
Whatever they architecturally set up isn't working. What they thought they knew, they don't know. So that means they have to go back and they either use the silly thing that's already there for them to use, which goes way higher than 200 people, or continue to fiddle with what they failed on before. That's their choice. Based on the fact that they patented this, I'm fairly certain they're going to stick with running it themselves. They don't have the right people to do that. I'm sorry, I don't know anybody personally, and I'm not trying to be personal about it. They don't have the right experts either running this part of it or to develop it. Now, they may be fantastic at what they're doing, but it's just their architecture is not there.
right?
And again, I'm not being personal at all.
We're just going off of what we've seen so far. That's it.
I know what I've dealt with in the past.
And that's not being personal. Right now, integrate new back-end infrastructure netcode changes. They've been saying that since the start. We don't know what that means. We have no idea what that means.
Yep. It's vague on purpose.
Continued implementation of Castle Siege and Horde mode. I find that's going to be kind of hard when they can't even get the BR up 24/7 to work on this architecture issues.
Yeah.
I find my ability to care about those two things at an all-time low right now. All I want to know is how's the MMO doing?
Let's talk about the MMO. During the next few months, we'll be working on the following for Alpha
MMO?
1. Back-end infrastructure netcode. Huh.
You just said that.
I know. Guess what? That's because that's what they copy-pasted in there. Yeah. We don't know what that is. New launcher Performance wait. Okay. Continued Castle Siege development and testing. Continued character, animation, and environment art.
Cool. Show us what you're doing.
Sure,
Show us the
yeah.
progress so far. Let's see it.
Show us the animations.
Continued
It's not
system,
that hard.
UI,
Show it to 'em.
and content implementation. All right. Let's start there. Let's stick with the positives.
Okay.
If there is any.
We're
Continued
done.
character
Okay.
animation and environment art. Why weren't they showing this? Like, I will give them that the bear that they showed a little while ago. Well, I'm
Great
not.
start.
It was new. We
Yeah.
talked about this last episode when they showed us their quote unquote new armor. Why are they showing us that when we've not seen? Arguably, we've not even seen. I know they said they're showing the Kalar humans and the Empyrean elves. We've not even seen an elf model. Actually, I should take that back. If you actually played the Battle Royale, there is a statue of an elf,
Yes, there is. There's a couple.
which
There is, yeah.
I fully expect to be the model they plan on using, because it's just the same model with a marble architecture on it. Great. We have that, but we've not seen any of the other stuff. We've never seen anything with dwarves other than concept art. We've not seen any of the Valoon stuff other than concept art, which is the other humans. We've not seen any of the orc stuff, period, other than a few concept art, again, of buildings mostly, not even of racial stuff. We're not even that's not even a gray box animation, much less, or a gray box just image, not even an animation. What are your character artists? I looked at that Intrepid site. You've got a handful of character artists. What are they doing? Does it really take that many character artists to add a freaking purple glow to armor that already exists?
Your sentence of what are they doing literally encapsulates what everyone is feeling. Show us what you're doing. We kickstarted this project. We want to know what you're working on because we're interested. We are financially interested. Show us.
And
We don't need to see finished products.
on the upside,
No,
they
right.
did talk about things they are going to be doing in March. They are implementing a bunch of new stuff, which we'll talk about a little bit. Actually, you know what? Let's talk about that.
Good time now.
We'll be releasing
They
new
talked
art
about
pieces, articles, and videos, or it says, and a video each month. March 2019 will be nodes focused. We are working on a new video series called Dev Diaries. This could be very helpful for finding out what people are working on. This series will let you know what our team of developers and our other development team covering a variety of systems, nodes, housing, level design, world destruction, concept art, modeling, animation, and much more. That's awesome.
Yes. But until they do that, I don't believe it. And
Right.
that sucks.
Exactly.
That's how we feel.
Until they do it,
And-
like whatever.
And how
it's
much
just
is this
words.
going to actually be? I've said this in the pre-show as well. We've had Steven walk around with his cell phone taking pictures of people at and video of people during Halloween and stuff like that. We didn't really see anything of note. There was a few little brief stuff, but how in-depth is this really going to be? Is this just going to be, hey, this is Bacon. He's our,
Substance.
Substance is very important.
want
Hopefully we'll see that. And we have hopes of that because as content creators, that would be helpful for us.
Yeah.
It would be helpful for me coming up with things
would.
not to pull out of my rear end for a show each week.
And it would be
Make sure
helpful
you wash
to just
those.
Yeah, right.
This community needs to be reassured
Yes.
badly. badly.
And that's why we're harping on
Backers,
this.
Casual people, everyone, they need to be reassured. They need confidence. They need trust. And it's at an all-time low right now, for a good reason. It's not for a really good reason. Like they've messed up everything done to this point. Every promise they've made, they've messed up. Every goal they've made, they've messed up to this point. Moving forward, you can fix that, and it's going to take time. But you've got to give us substance.
Right.
Do
And I see people in chat. Someone's like, I don't know whether to listen to the show or to Steven. And someone's like, you should listen to Steven. I would agree if Steven would say something. That means something.
Absolutely.
official Discord voice chat right now.
That would be fantastic if there was something of real value that we see now.
Right.
Until he shows something,
Yeah.
it's just words.
Yeah. And that's what they're fighting uphill with right now. This is going to be great if it's not another PR fluff piece, which is what they're showing. Honestly, if this is all coming from their stance that they are all about open development. Frankly, I think they probably shouldn't do open development because they're not very good at it.
They haven't been open about their development.
Yeah.
They've been open about tasks at a high level.
Have they?
They've opened it, but they're very high level, right? They haven't been. This is what we're doing. These issues. Better yet, show us a backlog. That's all. I'm gonna take all the proprietary information out. Show us a backlog. Better yet, give us just numbers in your backlog. We have 1,000 items in the backlog. We have 50 of them have issues. Just something.
Yes.
Camelot Unchained every Friday sends
You're like
an
a
email.
huge fanboy, man.
No,
Just
okay,
keep
no,
bringing this up.
and I'm not even
correctly.
a huge fanboy. I'm not even really all that excited about the game because it's PvP only. I'm impressed by their development and their openness. They're still under NDA. That's the weirdest part. They're still under 100% NDA, but every Friday, a letter goes out, which is called the weekly top 10-ish, which gives everyone who's following the top 10 things-ish that they were working on this week and where they are with it.
That's all I gotta do.
And it's very high level. It's a bulleted point of UI. Oh, we crushed these bugs. We noticed there was a bug whenever you would do this, and we're
How many bugs did you crush this week? Right?
Yeah.
But right now, again, you burned the trust.
yeah.
And trust, once you burn it, is hard to put back.
You got to rebuild the bridge, the whole damn bridge.
Yeah. It's exactly.
And we'll be here to watch.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going away, but
Oh yeah, no, not at all.
but I'm
Because again,
until we
want
see
to be-
something.
Yes,
Yeah.
we want to love this game. We want to
Yeah.
love this process. We want to love this company. We want to love everything about this. We want to. Let us.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's
Sucks.
and that's where we're sitting. Like these things are awesome, but you have to show us it's more than just fluff now. You've dug yourself the hole and now you got to dig out. They're working on more art, which is being finalized for concepts, NPCs, mounts, armors, environments, and more. We'll be sharing those assets along with details about
That's
them,
okay.
whether it's lore or information regarding the system they interact with.
I don't want to see any more art right now.
I know.
to
We
be
see. I was
honest.
like, concept art's okay, but we've seen so much.
We've seen a ton of art. I want to see
we need
something of
some
substance.
assets or something.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
Even grayscale, like the bear. That's cool.
Show us a model, right? Show us more. Show us moving models. Just take a video of a moving model. People would freak out. That's great.
Of
Show us
different
something
races.
of
we haven't seen.
substance.
Some
Yeah,
orc
something.
races, Some. I don't know.
Stand behind somebody doing a model and just video what they're doing, right?
Yeah. You don't even
enough,
need like
right?
screw screen capture. Just have him grab his phone and go, look at this
Let's
model
go.
he's working on.
Look, it's a model. It's working, and this is what it is.
Right.
I mean, what to that point?
Stop. Can we get real here? Can we stop with the monthly cosmetics for now? Just for now.
Mm-hmm.
Can we take a breather? Because the fact that they're still releasing these monthly cosmetics that people can spend money on, and they keep saying delay, it just leaves a terrible taste in my mouth. Can we just say, guys, we're stopping the store for 6 months while we focus on development? That'd be phenomenal.
You know what's really
Yeah.
funny? On the last video, someone asked that. Do you think they're going to stop cosmetics
answer's no.
because of the delay? I'm like, no.
The answer's no.
Let's see. It is the 7th as we're recording this. So for everyone else, it'll go live on the 11th. By Friday the 15th, I bet you we get a new blog post showing the new cosmetics for the month of March.
Do you think they show them in the live stream tomorrow? Do you think they show the next monthly cosmetics in the live stream tomorrow?
Yeah, that's what people want to see.
Oh, man. So, not going to PAX East because they want to focus on development. I think that's a
Which is
pretty good
good.
move. Yeah,
I think that's a good move.
that's a good move.
It came later than I would like. Like there was a point a while ago where I was wondering because I wanted to get tickets just because they would be there. Yeah, but we didn't get that until pretty much.
But you don't want
Yeah.
your developers in the booth anyways.
Exactly.
That's not who you want in the booth.
Get it?
You want to have Margaret. You want to have I can't remember how the name is. You want to have them in the
Sarah.
booth. Sarah, sorry, Sarah. You want to have Steve in the booth. You want to have a couple others. That's it. You want to have a team that is there for the booth, right? Now that doesn't mean they have to. That's all their job. But there's got to be people in there who aren't development who could take a couple days off and go do some market because they need to fix this. But again, if they didn't make this decision for not going to PAX, right?
Yeah.
Because it costs money to put a booth. It takes, they started getting reservations for this month's or this year's PAX last year. They honestly they asked for papers in like November and stuff, but what you wanted to present. So this is not a new decision. And because I just like, why are we waiting to the last second? I think Alpha hit it right on the head. You don't want to surprise your boss. In this case, we are their boss. And they're surprising us.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's true. We do all have a love for this company. Why else would we be going almost 2 years on this show? And I don't have any plans on stopping.
Nope.
But let's talk a little bit about, to wrap up the letter and what they need to do to change this. I'll kind of go first on this. I like the content roadmap, but they really needed dates on the content roadmap. They really did.
Even quarters.
Even quarters. Because when
Even
it comes
quarters.
to this particular stuff, this is content like dev diaries. I would love to hear a list of what dev diaries they had. I get nodes and stuff like that. Concept art. Yes, they threw some concept art in here already, but it's concept art. We need to see models. We need to see that.
Live streams every month on a specific day. Why couldn't they say dev diary every month on the fourth Sunday, on the last Sunday of every month? The last time, why couldn't they just say that?
Something substantive.
Right. Yeah. They need to reevaluate this roadmap, and they need to give us, because they're going with open develop, either own up to open development and let us know what you're working on, like that weekly top 10-ish. I know some people, I know I harp on Camelot Unchained, but it's the one I focus on the most. I'm sure Star Citizen does it too, but I don't follow them as closely. Give us your weekly top 10 of what your team is working on, and give us an update. Give us a chart showing this is our estimated timelines for each of our projects that we're working on.
Give us their burn rate.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all you gotta do.
We need that. We don't need the hard dates.
A monthly update, right? Where the development's at, and then every month they can say, "Hey, this particular thing not going so good. We're gonna push it back a month.
Yeah.
Or we're gonna push it back a bit,
So-
and update us."
Yeah, no.
They're doing agile, so they have Jira, right? So take the field in Jira that you put the non-proprietary words in there for what to publish it. Do a burn rate based on that. That'll take 2 seconds. That's all it would take to be able to say, here's our burn rate. Here's what we fixed. Here's what we didn't fix. Hey, it's gone up by 100 or it's gone down by something to let us know there's some sort of progress. Doesn't have to be proprietary. You can do all that. It's easy to do it. Jira works like that. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
That would help us understand at least what you're doing.
And we could see things shift and move as things are getting completed, as things are being
Exactly.
pushed back or pushed forward. We could see a project, something that was on the back burner. It would literally be saying it's on the back burner because it's waiting on something. We could see get pushed into active development. Oh, they're working on this concept now. I guess they moved ahead. That's awesome. Oh, this is now being pushed back. We would actually see the jump. That would be helpful.
That'd be phenomenal.
The conversation I would like to have is with whoever their project or program manager is. Right. Not we have to record it or anything like that, but just it's a kind of discussion of what they're doing. What is their philosophy around dates? What is their philosophy around updates? What is their all this sort of stuff? Their project or program manager should have all set to talk about, because that's what their job is. That's who I want to talk to. At this point, I don't want to talk to the individual developer because they're not going to have the whole picture. A program director, program manager, project manager at a different level should know this is what's going on.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's just,
no,
I'm frustrated.
It should. It absolutely should. And I don't know. It's repeating what we said earlier, but sorry, you guys opened the Pandora's box. You gave dates.
Yeah.
You now
Gave
still
dates?
need to give dates
They
going
gave a
forward.
date for APOC 24/7 in an end screen video flash.
Yeah.
APOC, whatever the date was, 24/7 servers.
I get that burned them. They're scared of that now. But the problem is your community now expects
It's already
that.
opened up.
You need to take those dates, but you need to reinforce that these are the dates we're going for. This is a target date and is subject to shift. Most people should already know that, but you can't let us hang anymore.
If you give us advance notice of a shift, it massages it a whole lot.
Oh,
better.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
But if the date comes and then the date's passed and then you have to explain why the date's passed, you're screwed.
You're already
You
past.
have to let us know in advance.
Yes.
Don't surprise us.
Yep.
Don't surprise us.
And that's what we've done so far. You've given us dates. Dates have come and gone, and then we're still waiting on information. So that needs to change, but you do have to give dates. I'm sorry. You do. Even if it's just, it doesn't even have to be for testing, but dates on, hey, where my stuff is, right? Like where our project is. That needs to change. You do need to have that ability. Either that or just close up shop. Not close up that, but I mean close up open development. Be like, listen, we're going into closed development now. We will provide you guys with PR
We'll
blasts
see
when
you.
we have stuff.
Yeah.
It's poker time, gentlemen. You either ante up
Yeah.
or you fold. That's your choice. You've been toting that you're this open development studio, but we're not seeing that. We're seeing PR fluff that we get from Blizzard, and let's just say they're not in the limelight right now.
No, they're not.
True.
We're getting PR speak that no one wants to hear from an open development studio. You expect it from a AAA studio. You expect it from the pay-to-win cash grab people, which I'm sure that's what you want to be associated with right now. We expect it from the EAs, from the Activisions. We don't expect it from Intrepid Studios, but that's what you're giving us. So either buckle down, be open, give us project updates on a fairly consistent basis. That's what you have these CMs for. That is their entire job. Or close up shop and we're doing closed development. To be frank, I don't care. Go with either. But own up to one or
Pick
the
one.
other.
Pick one.
All right. Let's end this show and go into the post show where I can really get angry.
I'll pour myself a drink.
That might be necessary. Anyway, I want to thank my awesome co-hosts for braving coming out here. We got Alpha Soul at _alpha_soul. Does a lot of YouTube videos about Ashes of Creation. Definitely check out his work. It's great. We got Stormzord Digital Piper Studios. Check out him and all of his games over there. And of course, Crojack, who does videos, streaming, all sorts of content creation. Amazing guy. Go check out his live streams. They're a lot of fun. They really are. I enjoy watching them almost every single day. So thank you, Crojack, for keeping me sane while I'm digging through audit stuff, because it's been amazing. Anyway, you can follow me and everything we do over DungeonCrawlerNetwork.com. There you find links to all of our social media, including Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Be sure to check out our Patreon program, patreon.com/DungeonCrawlerNetwork, if you want to help support the show. You can also do that by leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes so people know that we are a real podcast, that we say real words. Sometimes they matter. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of From the Ashes. We'll see you next time. See you later.